spectrum.
Spectrum.
Speaking
of spectrum, hi, my little autistic friends. How are you doing?
Special shout out.
Special. I was talking to you guys, but like
I thought
anybody
you
else.
were shouting out to our listeners. You're like, hey, autistic buddies.
I was starting the episode. I was like, that was like my intro.
I thought you were just
To you
hi,
guys.
listeners who are likely autistic too. How you doing?
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
how are you guys doing? But no, that was my transitioning from just shit talking to the actual
my
episode.
autism didn't catch it.
You cut it out. Yours didn't catch it. I was just oblivious to everything. So
We're so great together.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Opinionated Lushes.
Hey.
Hello. Now that Dawn's finished her cake,
yes, Jessica, what are you drinking tonight?
my husband bought me beer. So I'm drinking it. So woo! No hard liquor for me for a while because LCBO's on strike. So
Womp womp. There's booze here in New Brunswick.
I'll be on my way right there.
Saunya, what are you drinking tonight?
Surprisingly, not booze.
Surprise!
Yeah, just coffee and water. I gotta work because that's
I'm just drinking water too. And eating cake because I'm on my period, and so alcohol is really not great for you when you're on your period. And I took ibuprofen. That's also not really good with like alcohol. So.
You don't have to defend why you're not drinking. Like it's okay.
You could just not drink. Yeah,
you could just not do it.
Maybe I just want to mention that I'm on Aunt Flo. Maybe that was my whole.
Yeah, you're like, I'm on my fucking period, guys.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Listen, my uterus is like turning itself inside out right now. Okay, you think of a pocket, you think how the liner comes out. That is what's going on with my period. Like
your uterus is wearing itself as a hat.
Yeah, hanging out there now.
So if it's like a nice topic that's picked out, and every single answer Domri gives, it's because she's a little angry today.
Period.
Yeah, like who's your favorite Disney character? I fucking hate those bitches, and then she'll go on. Yeah, that's just because. Yeah.
One day when we all are linked up, we should record an episode and see if it sounds different.
Oh my god.
Fighting and crying.
We record an episode in each of our phases. We probably do that already since we almost record every week. We just need to be perfectly on sync. So
I could do that because I take like birth control, so I could always be like, okay guys, when do you need this to happen? And I can just like alter when I'm taking and starting and stopping. Perfect. If it's for science, I can do this.
For science.
Oh my god.
We'll be like the first people first women to like podcast their period cycles.
I'm sure it's still out there. I'm pretty sure it's out there already, but we could be the first old women who do it. Yeah, it's a very young person thing, like because people are like generation, it's still like taboo. You don't talk about it. Like it's still like hush, 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 right?
Not us. We're like, let's talk about shit.
Yeah,
let's talk about let's talk about period.
Anything. We'll talk about anything. We have zero non-talky topics pretty much. Well, there's some stuff we like don't want to talk about. Like we all have our like boundaries, but mostly we talk about everything.
Yeah.
Everything like gross, like fun. If it's fun.
Yeah.
We're like men in the bathroom like jokes. Like we're down with that. We're like, yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah, we're just as gross as men.
Who would have thought?
Maybe sometimes even more gross than them. Like I can be pretty gross.
No, men are just gross instinctually.
Just their presence is disgusting.
Yeah.
They just walk into a room, you're like, ugh.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to look under your balls. Thank you.
Oh my god, choke. It's not. Nobody wants that. What is the most useless information you have memorized? Example, I before E except after C.
Or except when it sounds like A, like a neighbor in way.
Yeah. Like, and there's so many other ones. Like what is it? Caffeine? There's no A sound in that one.
Yeah. So many exceptions.
So yeah.
Okay, wait. What was the question?
What is the most useless information you have memorized? And now that I'm looking at the I before E, it's the only fucking thing that's in my brain right now. It's like made itself a worm. I was like, oh.
Okay, well, it makes me think of like being a kid and like all the like tips and stuff you get from like adults that is like so dumb. So like, you know, like have you ever did you want a tip? Don't eat yellow snow. It's like, yeah. I know. Thanks.
Yeah.
I have useless information in my head. Don't eat yellow snow. Okay.
Like this makes me think of like myths people have told you that aren't true, but we already did an episode about that. So go back and listen to that.
I grew up listening to, but it was all like women's safety things, like put the key between your two fingers if someone approaches you, so you can yell fire instead of rape, because people will most likely actually listen to fire than rape, which is really sad and
they don't want to get involved.
Yeah, but they want the fire. Like they'll be like, yeah. But rape, they're just like, or they'll think that you're just calling it for shits and giggles. But fire, no, that has to be real.
Yeah. And like that's not useless information, by the way. It is a very good tidbit. Yeah.
No, you have very good tidbits. What I'm saying is that like those were the things that were instilled in me, like growing up. Like my mom was very like be keen of your like awareness and stuff.
Protect yourself. Always. Yeah. Still.
And she was like, if a guy like approaches you like from the front, use your palm of your hand to his nose and break it up like that way. I was like, why? She's like, because you might get lucky and his nose bone will go right to his brain. I was like, oh, cool. Okay.
I don't know if like people actually have the force, like physic wise, to like
the average person, probably not.
No,
maybe a soldier, like Marine or something, like that has to do like 300 push-ups a day. Like maybe, yeah.
Well, like going off that, like a useless advice is like call the cops in case of emergency.
Yeah,
like
cops
I told the cops on an abusive ex before, and I had to leave the apartment.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or you tell them to take a walk. Like literally, they'll just
cool off.
He just needs to calm down. Yeah.
Go
and like
cool
when he
off.
comes back, like just go
They're
to
like,
bed.
he pushed you against the wall, but you don't have any marks, so.
And what's
what do you want to do?
It's the law that like even if the people don't want to press charges, the police still press charges against the aggressor. Like that's supposed to be the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not. Well, not followed. Yeah.
It's because the case, once it gets to court, like if the person didn't want to press charges, they're not going to be cooperative in testifying, and then you don't have a case if they don't testify.
Yeah, but
so it's like stupid. Yeah. Oh, it's 100% stupid. Like the system is broken. Like it's like, sorry. Oh, he's stalking and threatening to kill you. We can't do anything until you're dead.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But like if they're making these reports, even if the abused do not want to testify or anything, there's still that report made. There's still like a history
that
of
officer's still a witness of what they came on scene to. Like,
yeah,
there's half of those officers are abusers themselves.
Oh,
so they are not rolling.
Sure.
They're
Yeah,
like, you know, you just walk it off, man. Just walk it off. They all have this. I'm not gonna say. Well, majority all like have the same like personality to like do something like that. Plus, like the job also enhances. Like if you're already a risk factor of someone like that personality, the job itself also increases the risk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
A special type of person
to a police
wants
officer.
to be a cop, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't be too smart, or else you won't be allowed to be a cop.
You won't be allowed. Yeah. They're like, no.
I'm like, wait, you question authority? No, thank you. Actually,
No,
thank you.
No, you have to be informed. Like, you have to be reformed, and you have to be like.
You can't be too dumb either. Like you have to like go into like this little window of
the window of brainwashing. All right, can you be brainwashed? Awesome, thank you.
I think if your IQ is too low, you can't be brainwashed.
We're like, can you have a high school diploma and not question authority?
Because even dumb people are free thinkers, right? Like they always think of something stupid. But I mean, they're still free thinkers. You have to have that middle.
Dumb people don't know they're dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know I'm dumb. So I'm not
smart
really.
People know smart people know what they don't know. Dumb people are just like, no, that's fine. I'm right.
Whatever. So Kyle and I like to do IQ tests together, you know, autism. And I always get like, need an adult to survive. I don't test well. So it's like, that's great. That's great. Like, you married somebody you shouldn't have. Like, you're just like, you're taking advantage of me.
I need an adult.
I need like that. It is like, it's pretty much like used to be like institutionalized or whatever. I get like 70. So like Kyle's like 130 something. I'm like, nope.
Oh my god, we should do a IQ test, like opinionated lashes.
Next episode, everybody. We'll see how bad I get. Just so you know, IQ tests mean nothing. If you've taken one and you didn't do a good job, doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, IQ is heavily correlated with poverty, etc., etc. So
yeah.
And I get a 70, but I have lots of education. I know I have lots of information about the world.
It's very white centric too. Like, so certain demographics tend to have lower IQs, even though it's.
But if you give them time,
they have lower IQs.
Yeah, that's what the one the medical in Ontario. There's like the MCATs or something for
to like go to to go to medical school,
and there's people trying to like fight that because it is very like class based. Like if you are somebody who was able to go to private school and get education, you are going to have these answers. And then it was proven that given 6 months, these people who didn't have the same opportunities either did just fine or better. Like, it's just, you're not given the same tools. So like they're asking just to like maybe offer these people like prep or something. Like, let's cancel this test right now because it's racist, which it is. And then let's come up with something else. But unfortunately they lost because people are ridiculous.
How it is. The LSATs is the same. It's such like a very specific test, very hard to get any accommodations, and you're just fucked if you didn't grow rich enough or you can't afford the prep courses in when you're in university. And sucks. But given if you like, that's the part of like equality is like giving everybody the tools they need to succeed at the same level. Some people need more, some people need less, but it should be everybody is able to start at the same starting line. Yeah, it's the myth of meritocracy. Like, we were growing up, even when you're poor, you're told that just work hard and you can be anything. And then like
people still believe that bullshit.
Oh my god!
Like, with the world on fire,
it doesn't exist, and they're still like, yeah.
Like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, it's like that's physically impossible. That's the joke.
I'm like, you are my age, sir, and you're still dumb as fuck. Like,
Well, I haven't brought up my dad in a while. I mean, that's always like, I'm like, dude, you're like pro-capitalism and you don't even own a house. Like, I own more capital than you right now, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And I'm anti-capitalist. So it's like, why? Because I know my house ain't worth shit.
Yeah,
like, in
like
the long run, like it can be taken away. It's not nothing. Like I'd rather landlords not exist.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I always comment on people's like stuff when they're like, "Oh, rent my house." I always like report it as spam. Maybe that's why I keep getting like locked down on my account.
Maybe you're spam reporting everything else is spam.
Yeah, any property for sale, and then someone will complain, and then the like landlord property manager will be like, "Oh, if you don't like it, blah blah blah," and then I've always say something like, "Quit hoarding property." Like that's what you get for people complaining. Like it's
yeah, like landlord's not a job.
No.
And if you lose money on your house, sorry, it was an investment, was it not? That's part of the risk you're taking.
You lose money in the stocks. Yeah.
You like what?
Go. Like that was the risk.
Like you can't both like, say you're taking a risk and then complain when the risk backfires.
Did you hear that? So they capped it again for anyone who has a building that was built before 2018. They capped it again at only 2.5, and landlords are flipping out because everywhere else is like 3.1 and whatever. It's the only good thing that's ever come out. But yeah, they're like freaking out that they can't raise it even more. And I'm just like, well, then get a newer build. Like they're just have no rent cap. There you go. But you can't afford
brand new builds. Yeah.
Yeah.
People need to stop being friends with these people.
Right.
Like if you have a friend who's a landlord, you need to have a serious discussion with both yourself and your friend and like decide where your values actually are. Are you like, people deserve housing? Or are you like, but my landlord friend is very nice?
Yeah,
you know,
my
like,
aunt's a landlord and she's sweet. Like, I don't give a shit about your aunt. Like,
she's not sweet. She's literally contributing to the homeless crisis. Like, if she owns more than one house.
There was some really nice grandpas that also were Nazis at one point. I mean, like, they can be nice, like, but then I'm white, so of course they're nice to me.
Yeah, they're nice to you.
That's right.
Right? Like, you can't use that, well, they're nice. That's not an argument.
Yeah, stop being friends with them, and then maybe they'll think twice before they buy that second house. You know, like it's
or third house.
Stop sleeping with them. Like, stop giving them access to nice social things. Force them to have to be friends with other landlords.
Right?
Start like their own like what? Parasite is the word I'm looking for. Fuck, it's not coming out. Oh my gosh. Pariah?
Pariah?
Is that the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
That's a fish.
No, that's piranha.
No, you can say someone's a pariah if you're saying they're like an outcast.
Yeah, that's what they're together. All their landlords. Yeah.
They'll start their own like secret society cult thing that hoards property and whatever else, but at least they won't have access to the majority of the population besides their bills.
I'm hoarding property right now.
Yeah, but not for realsies.
I'm going to use it. It's mine. I'm keeping it.
She's going to live in it eventually.
I had two houses at 1.2, but it wasn't because like I was renting it out and stuff. It was transitional periods.
So yeah, like I'm keeping land. It's not just the house. I'm hoarding land.
How dare
you people who need land? It's mine.
I'm going to start charging rent to the squirrels.
Just like go to the trees. Oh man,
the Lorax.
We're like
the trees.
I will. I'll be like my trees. Move the fuck over here. Like you were
like Lorax here to negotiate the terms.
I think in October we're gonna start tearing shit down. You guys are coming. Yeah. Bring your hard hat. We don't have insurance, so don't hurt yourself. Like if you're like that's like the rule. 0 insurance on that property. Do not hurt yourself. Can't afford that.
Are we like demolitioning an old house? Like, is that what we're doing?
Condemned. It's condemned. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to demo it. Like, we have to get rid of it,
level it. Yeah.
So, okay, so all I really need is to bring like sledgehammers, right?
Well, we'll have those. Just like clothes that you're okay with getting dirty in. Maybe garden gloves.
Oh, I'll ask for like purple work boots with like the steel toe.
Like you're going to spend all this money to like spend 2 days.
Okay, but think of all the content we could make.
Yeah, I will be so cute. I'm gonna buy like a pink hammer.
I know we need sledgehammers, so I'm proposing the Lorelai Gilmore bedazzled hammer, but make it sledge.
Yes,
bedazzle it. Yeah. We're all gonna have bedazzled sledgehammers.
Bedazzled sledgehammers.
I'm getting purple work boots. I don't even care. I know they.
You're like, I don't even ever
use
them ever again.
She starts just wearing them day to day as like a fashion accessory. She's like, oh. because
like a fucking Bob the Builder getup.
It just becomes her style.
Yeah, she's like, I'm bringing back the tool belt. Think of all the snacks you can keep in there too.
Right?
Like that's really good.
That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna make it a fashion statement.
I'll put my Kindle in one of the pockets.
See, it's perfect.
Like, she pulls out, it's like lube. She's like, oh, wrong pocket.
That's for another part.
She's like, edible underwear. Oh shit, sorry.
Yeah, it's for something else.
Tonight. My bad.
Yeah. Like first aid. Like you're like, oh, you need a Band-Aid? Here you go.
Your next near her fairy porn.
Like, sunscreen.
All she can live with for a day, you know.
Gummy bears.
Yeah. I want gummy bears. No, I want gummy bears, guys.
Well,
cake was not enough.
Half a cake.
I'm done my cake though. It's gone. Now I need gummy bears. No, I had a pretzel stick earlier. You guys seen me eating it earlier. I want that. Yeah,
we've just been watching Dawn eat for hours.
Listen. I'm on my period, okay?
Oh fuck, what was the prompt? Stupid
stuff useless information
useless information that we have learned.
In grade 9, the only science I was really taught was about germs. Okay, now I'm scarred for life about it. And we talked about how much detail my one science teacher went into about like germs and how they're spread and stuff. For the longest time, I'm like, this is the most useless fucking information I need. Besides, like, now I'm crazy. I don't really need this information. And then, like, COVID happened. And I'm like, how do you guys not understand germs? Like, whenever
just
there's any illness.
Hands. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, don't be in my face when you're talking to me.
Don't cough on people.
The worst was everyone using gloves and not, like, washing their hands or changing their gloves. They're like, oh, I'm wearing gloves. And it's like, yeah, but you're still, you just touched all your stuff after touching all the other stuff. Like, you still spread the germs. Like, do you not?
Yeah, germ transfer. It's the only thing I learned in school, in grade 9 science. And I always thought, like, all these other people are learning all these other things and now I have to learn as an adult if I want to look into something. So it was useless until it wasn't. So
I feel like that's why I hold on to useless information,
like just in case.
That's hoarder mentality. I'm a hoarder brain. Oh my God. Because I will like try to remember something because I'm like, what if someone wants to know that?
Yeah, and then you have it. They don't have to like go research it. Back in my day, we had to go read books.
Look at an Encyclopedia Britannica. Yeah.
That was a lie though, because like Yahoo was around when I was like 15.
Ask
like,
Jeeves.
Yeah, Ask Jeeves. It was around. We had the information then, but we were still forced to read it in books. I think like our teachers thought the internet wasn't gonna last. Like, was that like it was like, oh, it's just a fad. Keep reading books. But then
I loved, like, I feel like, yeah, like, I would use a lot of, like, Ask Jeeves and stuff to get the ideas for the project, and then use books just for the references, because the teachers never wanted you to reference the internet where you got the information. And I feel like
a part, like, you couldn't use it as your source.
Yeah, and I feel like part of that was because they understood that it wasn't being fact-checked and like that kind of stuff. Like, it was still, especially back then, like very unregulated.
Yeah.
And now those same teachers that are now like 70 plus or dead, like they are the same generation that's like believing like the Minion memes on Facebook. Like, it's like, okay,
if it's
like
catchy and it looks right, like, yeah, it has to be true.
they're like, this sounds believable, I believe it.
But they're not fact checking. They wanted you to fact check your whole life, but they're like, no,
they don't know
the
how to
internet
fact
would
check
never lie.
anymore. Yeah, they're like, I don't trust Google. It's made by Big Google.
But like some stranger on Facebook, like, no, I've been his friend.
Yeah, like, they're like, that stranger's like his uncle or like his nephew or like a guy he knew since, elementary school. So he's like, I believe him.
Even then, they just met through a Facebook game. No, they would never.
He uses words with friends. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Okay, I've known him since farmland.
It says so in his bio. He's a good guy.
Yeah. He would never let me down.
I'm sure he fact checked before he shared the thing. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's stuff I don't fact check, but I don't expect people to share it. Like, don't take this stuff I post as like law. Except for if it's about chickens. If I'm posting about chickens, I'm telling you the truth. Just so you know. We just got meat chickens. Yeah. You go?
Yeah, you go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was like, we just got meat chickens, babies, and our one hen is brooding, and so intensely that she lost her feathers under her belly, so she could keep eggs warm better. It's fucking 800 fucking degrees outside, but she needed a bald belly, and we're like, okay, so we'll see how she does with these day olds. You shove like the baby under without her seeing it. Take a golf ball and then wait to see what happens. And then after you have the right amount, and she's like, oh shit, I have kids. And that is it.
I wish it worked like that. You're just sleeping and
they had to lay the eggs first,
I would not want that.
Which is pretty aggressive to begin with. I think bears have it pretty easy though. They go into labor while they're out of it and then give birth.
Hey, humans used to do that. We used to drug women so much that they were just passed out while they gave birth.
They were go back to that.
Yeah, twilight sleep. I mean, to be fair, the women had to be strapped down and were screaming the whole time, but they just didn't remember it. So,
that sounds scary.
When?
So at the time they did feel it, you just don't remember that you felt it?
Yeah, that they still have drugs like that now, where you're going for
it's the same drugs. They just use less of them now for certain things. But
you don't get knocked all the way out.
Sorry, I hit a button.
Okay, you don't get knocked all the way out. You're just drugged. It's kind of like a little fever dream you have.
Yeah,
but you're there.
That's the problem. I just don't want to feel. I just let my body.
They do a little bit of numbing, but if you're somebody who remembers it, it's not a good time. Where the drugs go. Yeah, it's not fun. But during it's cool.
Yeah. To be fair, a majority didn't remember it, and they actually started a coalition to bring twilight sleep over to the North Americas. And that's how we got it, because they were this is the best. They're I traveled to Germany for this. This should be available here. And then other women were no,
don't do it. Yeah,
don't do it. They didn't really have options then either. It wasn't like you get to choose your birth. It's like you go to the hospital and they're like, oh, time for a twilight sleep. No.
They gave me
like, you're being irrational. We can't have that. Like, go sleep now.
Yeah, you're being ridiculous. Like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Who cares if this little gremlin is like shooting out of you? Don't be a little bitch.
Tearing your shit up. Like, who cares? Like,
no. My first pregnancy, I was very young, so like pain, what is it? You have like higher tolerance or whatever, but anyway, I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm just in labor. It's not a big deal. They're like, oh, like you should have epidural. I was like, I guess, okay. And like they gave me so much that I couldn't feel anything from the neck down. Like,
I wonder if they even placed it wrong.
I have no idea, but they ended up having to take it completely off because Kara's heart was like super like bad, and then they took it completely off. And then like even after, I couldn't feel my legs.
Yeah, it takes a long time for that shit to get out of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just wasn't pumping through me at the time. It's like, but like I was like, it made me loopy. Like they didn't. It was only epidural. It wasn't anything else. And like I was just like in and out because I couldn't feel anything. I was just like.
That's why I'm wondering if it like maybe hit your like spinal cord.
They gave me brain damage.
No, because like my aunt had an issue with her epidural, and they did hit her spinal, and they didn't realize until she was complaining of a massive headache. And she started vomiting and stuff. She wasn't feeling good. And they saw, and they were like, yeah, when they gave her epidural, they hit her spinal. So it was like spinal fluid was lowering.
Oh my God.
And she was getting out of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's common for them to not actually make it perfect. Like lots of women end up with permanent lower back pain.
Yeah.
From their epidurals. Like that is a common side effect.
Yeah. No, I liked, so for the first time I was having like a back labor. So when they put the whatever thing in, I felt so nice. Just the pressure on my spine.
Yeah.
And then my other two pregnancies were not the same. And it was excruciating. It like you get like lightning up your back. I was like, oh yeah. And I was not a fan. But for my last one, I still wanted epidural. But I wasn't allowed it.
With my first one, I got an epidural once my contractions were like 3 minutes apart. And they were having you like, when they have you flip on your sides.
Yeah.
Stuff and try to keep it balanced. Yeah. I just felt wet on my back, and the nurse came and it actually pulled out. So I'm like bleeding a little bit out my back in the middle of labor, and then by the time they check me, they're like, "Well, you're fucking ready to push." I was like, "Okay, here, I guess we're doing this." With my daughter, I tried to do the natural home birth route, but after 10 hours laboring overnight and 24 hours of no sleep, I gave up and said, "Fuck this! Let's go to the hospital." And they gave me what they call a walking epidural, which if you get a midwife and you get an epidural, this is usually what they request for you. And it's a misnomer because you still can't walk, but is the lowest dose epidural that they can give you to still give an effect of numbing the pain. So you still feel like the contractions and the pressure. You just don't feel like the sharpness.
Okay.
So that you can still push on commands, and it was enough to let me sleep. And then I pushed an hour later. Like I gave birth an hour. I was in the hospital an hour before I pushed. 11 hours at home. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? But
kids don't make things easy.
They do not.
No.
Yeah, no, with Nick, the first time, I did most of my laboring at my mother-in-law's. And then I was only in the hospital for an hour. And like I went from 4 centimeters, and they're like, okay, we'll give you the epidural. I was like, sweet. They put it in my back. I felt instant relief. And then within like the nurse left with the doctor that does the anesthesiologist dude.
Yeah.
And then the other nurse comes back in. She looks and she's like, oh, I gotta get the doctor. I was like, okay. Doctor comes in. It's like, okay, you're ready to push. I was like, oh, like instantly I dilated right away. So I had Nicholas, super easy, except the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. So mid push, they're like, stop. And I was like, what? And then, and then they're like, hey, push. And I didn't know about this until like later. David told me later. I was like, oh, okay. Kayla. Now, I went in and I was laboring for over a day. And they're like, oh, no, your water didn't break. Oh, it did. It did break. The second time I go in and they're just like, oh, he made a bowel movement inside you. I was like, oh. They're like, but you're only 3 centimeters dilated. I was like, so what does that mean? They're like, okay, we'll give you epidural. Like, they couldn't tell me no and, like, send me home. So they gave me epidural plus, like, some other thing. But, like, no, first they didn't give me epidural. I could walk around at first. And then I got excruciating, and, like, they were monitoring my heart rate and his heart rate. And his kept dropping, and they're like, okay, no, you need to stay in bed. I was like, fine. And then they're like, do you want the epidural? I was like, yeah. And that was good. That was great. That was, whoo. But his heart rate kept dropping. They're like, okay, I think it's time for, like, operation. And then the doctor's like, okay, well, we need to give her epidural. I was like, no, I have it. I already have it.
They're like, no, you need double.
Yeah, more. Give her more.
No, I heard horror stories where they forget the needle in the back and get an infection and die. I was like, no, I already have it. I already have it. They're like, oh, okay, yeah. It's like, how do you not know? Like,
I used to work as a birth doula, and like I always tell people, like, don't ever discount an epidural, because a lot of people plan for natural, and then once they're in the midst of it, it's a little rough. You weren't expecting it to be as bad as it was. So I was like, oh, even if you want to go natural, don't discount epidural. But also, if you want epidural, don't get it right away. No. It should be once you're like actively in labor. If you get it too early, it'll do the Pitocin epidural cycle until you end up with the cesarean. And that's like a big issue in the States. So if get an epidural, don't get an epidural. But if you do, just make sure you're at active labor. You're good to go, because then it only takes you an hour and shit pops out.
It pop right out. Some useless information I learned while giving birth to the kid that wasn't mine. I had to do a C-section. That when you have the epidural and it's all numb, tickling and cold are the same sensation. So like they poke around and stuff, and then they're like, oh, do you feel this? Do you feel this? And then I got tickled and I felt it. And like, oh, and then they say like it was because they were doing like a cold temperature thing, and they're like, oh, it's the same sensation. So
that's crazy.
I learned that. Yeah. Or they're fucking lying to me. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, useless. Like, why does it matter? But like, it's like, I don't know, something with the nerves that cold and tickle have the same, like, not like tickle, but like a nice little like, ooh. Yeah. I'm like, I can feel that. Like, don't cut yet. Don't cut. No, they're like, oh no, it's like
information I learned. So I was always getting heartburn. Probably had to do with my gallbladder, but at the time I didn't know. Anyway, so I went to the doctors and I was like, I'm getting constant heartburn. And he's like, okay, well, what do you do for it? And I was like, well, I drink milk. And he's like, don't do that. Don't do that. And I was like, everyone tells you to drink milk. They're like, milk is a calcium, right? I was like, yeah. Calcium's an acid. I was like, it is? It's like, yeah. Acid with acid is bad. He's like, eat bread.
It's better to drink water. Yeah,
drink water, eat bread. Do not drink milk. It is a common conception, like it's supposed to coat your stomach. No. It's actually it's worse. I was like, oh, I was having heartburn all this time. I was like, I don't know why drinking milk's not helping. Now you know. So yeah.
Peppermint's supposed to help. Peppermint makes it worse for me.
Yeah, peppermint makes it worse.
Yeah, it's supposed to, even in the hospital, they give you peppermint drink to help like with heartburn. And I'm like,
that's really funny. Well, because I was gonna say, like, isn't like stuff like Tums meant for like because Tums is a calcium
covers, right?
Yeah. It's a calcium carbonate. So it's like, and that's what you use for that. So it's funny.
I don't use Tums.
Well, there's different kinds.
I don't think
right?
you do use Tums, but like that's like the main ingredient in Tums. So it's like, I wonder if it's like a ploy. Like it makes it feel less, but you need to keep you need to keep taking them.
Yeah.
And like if you don't treat your heartburn, it causes permanent damage. So don't like try to fight through it. Like get treatment right away.
Yeah.
I learned that.
Well, that's what I was trying
Not
to do.
useless, but it's important information. With my 100 kids I've given birth to, I've always had really bad heartburn. And I was like, oh, it's fine. It's part of pregnancy. No, it can cause permanent damage. Get that shit checked out. It's not useless information.
Do they all have lots of hair?
Yes.
Useless knowledge. If you have lots of heartburn, it's very likely your child will have lots of hair because of a certain protein in the hair.
Well, 2 had lots of hair, like the whole fucking body. They were little like gorillas.
Gremlins.
Yeah, and then 2 kids were like bald little aliens. And then the last, not my baby, I'm pretty sure I was just damaged by then with all the other heartburn, but it came out with a normal.
It's from the not treating it.
It
just come back. Yeah.
Like now bananas give me heartburn, like tomatoes, coffee, like, well, those are natural things, but fucking banana, yogurt sometimes, like, but it's a dairy. Like, I'm like, fuck.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of heartburn, a lot of my useless information is like the names of body parts, like the little flap that covers your trachea, like that's like your epiglottis. That's just the little trap that like you breathe and you eat, and it protects your lungs. And then
like a valve.
Going down your esophagus, you got like your cardiac sphincter. It's the top of your stomach. And then below where your food enters your intestines, it's your pyloric sphincter. I like sphincters. And then and like you go through all the parts. Oh, lightning bug.
Sorry. It's a moth. It's fine. I tried not to squeal, but it came out. I was like, oh no.
It's okay. But yeah, that's my useless information because you don't need to know all of your body parts. Like that is the main ones, the outside ones. That's important.
The outsides are important. Yeah. Like hands. Those are important.
Your genitals is more like what I was thinking. But yeah, hands is helpful.
That's the phalanges.
I don't think some people even know really much about their genitals still to this day.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely important to know.
It's important, but a lot of people don't know. Like they didn't pay attention in health class.
You only learn about the penis.
I learned about the vagina.
We learned about the vaginas, but because there is so much to a vagina, you only get given the same time as the penis.
It was like, but it was like just basic. Like there was nothing like too much about the reproductive system or anything.
I mean, for me, I learned like all the parts, and then the sperm fertilizes the egg in the fallopian tube.
Yeah, learned that.
Yeah. That's it. But like any other like anatomy details is like no, like.
Well, even like the way the clitoris looks, that wasn't shown when I was in school. It was just the little nubbin is what was shown in the diagram.
Yeah,
now
nothing.
Now you look at the clitoris, and as a full organ, it looks like a fucking wishbone because part of it is internal, other than the little. I'm giving a YouTube demonstration. Feel free to follow our YouTube to look. So like before we just saw the little nubbin, now you see the entire thing, and it's very wishbone-esque, but now we know! Yay!
Oh yeah, back in my day, it was like a fucking like Barbie doll kind of look, kind of thing. You know how you get baby alive and all it is like its little pee hole? But like that's like they're like, oh, here you go, and this is that's it. They're like, okay. Like,
no labia minora
cool in the 90s. Yeah, no. No, you weren't learning nothing. We weren't taught anything.
I mean, to be fair, I was also a theater kid, so I also like did like the vagina monologues and that kind of stuff. So I got to talk to a lot of old women about vaginas. So I feel like that helps supplement my education.
We had like inner city school education. Even though our school was brand new, the education practices were still extremely poor and ghetto. Like they're like, no, we're not gonna update any of our information. Like textbooks were still like 30 years old. Like it was
yeah.
Oh man, I don't know where the money went for that like build.
It went to building it to put colors into the school, and that was it. Like after that, there was no funding left.
I gotta reread what kids are learning nowadays. I know like Ernest is more educated, especially because I used to work as a doula. Like I have like a fucking stuffy of a uterus around here, like because I used to teach that stuff. But I know I'm always like I want my kid to be the most educated out of the other kids. Like so if they have questions,
yeah, you could answer.
Yeah,
I don't want my kid to learn from the other kids.
No,
quiz Nicholas like all the time. I'm like, how many holes does a woman have, right? And he was just like 3, like that down there. And I was like, good for you.
There's women that don't even know that,
right? Because I asked him, and like straight out, I didn't even give him like why. I was just like, so hey, how many holes down there? And he's like 3, 1 to pee, 1 for sex, and then your anus. So I was like, all right, goodbye. And he's just like looking at me like, you're weird, mom, but okay.
It's like I don't quiz my kids about their genitals. Yeah, you're right. This is about someone else's genitals.
Yeah, well, we give them the information. If they have questions, they can ask. Usually a lot of their questions are based around trauma their like friends have gone through. So we work through that a lot. They I guess they pretty much understood this is body parts. So, but most of the questions they have are emotional around that, the psyche part. Yeah. But like for sex or whatever, like we're pretty honest. Like if you have a question, but whatever. They also have the internet. That's incognito mode, whatever.
That's what the internet's for. That like it's funny because like I don't know about your guys' parents, but my parents weren't very forthcoming with information. But like my dad got me condoms and just like left them on my pillow. Like I had a secret condom fairy that just left a couple condoms every once in a while, and I never had a conversation. And like the conversation with my mom was like sex causes babies. Like that was it. And I feel like they almost wish that I did learn from the internet, but I learned from like the early 2000s internet, which I think it doesn't count as learning, especially about sex. No, like we had like all the chat rooms and that kind of stuff.
Is there where we were learning?
Yeah. So like I kind of was like, I'm just gonna get ahead of this thing. Like,
my mom never protected us from that stuff. Like there wasn't like non-education. It was like lack of censoring was the biggest issue. Like I had friends over at 12 years old and she was told like what 69 is and stuff. Like, so like that's, lack of boundaries, lack of censoring. Yeah. I knew too much too young.
Now I knew my kids a lot at a young age, but like at a safe level. Like I feel like I was informed. Like we didn't get into like 69. Yeah, no, like I didn't get into 69 or anything, but like, my mom was pretty like on it. She would tell us stuff. Like she told us ridiculous stuff too, all the time. But she didn't like get into like specialties like I said 69 Hummers or anything like that. She was just telling me the basics, what a blowjob was. Like she obviously is like, if a man asks you to put your mouth there, that's what it's called, don't do it. And I was like, okay,
don't do it. Yeah,
don't do it,
it's gross.
Don't do it.
Don't do blowjobs.
It's Make America great again.
I've had a few one night stands back in my single days, and that, like, whatever was the guys, like, that's always what it was. It's like, I'm not putting your genitals near my mouth because, like, I'm not getting warts up in my face over a one night stand. Sorry. Like, it's like, I'll have sex with you with a condom, but I'm not gonna suck your dick. Like, I have boundaries here, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah,
that's for when you're married,
like, right?
Not one time, guys.
Like, I find putting your pee hole in my mouth is more intimate than putting your pee hole near my pee hole.
Right? That's where it's supposed to go. Any extra steps is romance, and that's not what this is.
Like when you go in my butt, you know it's true love. Like that.
That's right. It's romance.
Yeah, that hole is served for special occasions.
Yeah, we signed papers.
I get half. Okay, you can have
yeah, that's right.
Poop comes out of there, just so you're aware. But like a disclaimer.
I'm sure they know. Like,
I don't know the health, the education system. It's tough to tell.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well,
so
they have
one
too. They know. Like,
yeah, but they like
of useless information.
But they don't assume that females have the same like
pee holes.
Yeah, as them. They think it's all in one. There's a lot of men that think it's all one hole.
And women.
You know what's with chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do. Like the chicken's egg and the like body waste all come out of the same spot. There's just a valve. Like when you're breathing valve, that's for chickens too. One's for the egg, one's for waste. And it just flips.
So boop, boop. Like a man. Like they have a thing in their seminal tract that switches. That's why it's hard for them to pee with a heart on.
Yeah.
They're peeing against the valve.
Yeah, they're like going against the grain. Like
it's like your dick's like, no, come, and you're like, I gotta pee. Man, it must be hard to be a man in the morning. I'm so sorry, men. It's tough.
That's why they know. That's why they grow. Like when they wake up, they have like an erection so that they don't pee themselves.
It's like I'm just imagining like an Inside Out where it's like a bunch of like guys inside being like, guys, man the levers.
Wrong lever.
He's waking up, he's like, shit, piss myself again.
Chocolate everywhere.
Okay, so I hope to those listening to this episode that you learned a lot of useless information from us. If not, let us know what useless information you know. Maybe we'll bring it up.
I want to know some useless shit.
Yeah, I love useless shit.
Yeah, like, let's get it.
And once again, I want to thank our not so useless VIP Patreon, Stephanie Hurst. Thank you so much for sticking in there, Stephanie. And if you want more bonus content from us, check out our Patreon. I'm sure there's lots of useless information there.
So much shit talking, like it's not where it's like it's I don't know. It's great.
You want to learn about us on our personal lives? That's the place to pay for it.
Yeah, more personal. We're pretty personal here, but like,
even more is what I'm saying.
We got like social security numbers being thrown out, like
credit cards.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Yeah, good night.